Hello and welcome to X and Y Gaming, another Minecraft video. And in today's Gobber mod related video, I'm going to be doing one of these. I've spent a fair amount of hours in the Gobber mod myself, and I think it's time to put it all to the test. But first things first, I want to point out something that I've recently come to light. So this is the treasure ward block. And when it's on, like this, monsters will just straight up turn into drops. So if I sit here and I can spawn stuff. No problem. But it's not just enemies that this works on. So if you were to shoot an arrow, yeah. And it's not just arrows, actually. It's everything. Even if you put loyalty on it. Don't ever do this. Real quick, I just want to point out that this is take 2. I already did this, like an entire recording of it. It was an hours long, and I forgot to turn my microphone on. But with that all being said, we got our S tier, our A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, and F tier. And it's going to be up to me today to put all the Gobber items into that tier list. Such as the basic Gobber blocks, most of them, the medallions, the staves, the armors, well, some of it, some of the tools. We'll get to it. I'm going to be talking about pretty much all this. Real quick, can you just desecrate the like button, please? All right, so let's go right out of the gate. First of all, I'm not going to be talking about like, oh, this is the Gobber ore, but it's only B because Deep Slate is better. Yeah, no. This is going to start off with the basic idea that the lucky Gobber block is, well, it's really only okay. It's really only okay. And that's simply because it only ever is going to drop food, which is never going to be bad for you, or fuel, which is just furnace fuel, and it lasts a lot longer than, like, coal. There's almost no reason not to break it, but if you already have a good bunch of wood that you can turn into charcoal, and food, or your armor feeds you, then this is kind of useless. In fact, actually, let's just go ahead and, yeah. So for all of these other things else, like, yeah, the Gobber glass is pretty cool, and honestly, I'd say maybe the in glass is your best, but it's still glass, so it's going to have to be somewhere between B and C for me. It's blast-resistant glass, but there's not much better. And if we're talking about just these things in here, yeah, I'm kind of annoyed how the Gobber nemesis exists. So, right off the bat, actually. Oh no! He goes in the F tier. And honestly, for all this other stuff, it's just kind of like, I mean, this is all part of that, so. Alright, so now are the staves. So, the Staff of the Sniper. I have made this one in my survival world. I do have the Staff of the Sniper, but I've already combined it with my sword. So, you know, I'm gonna have to say it's at least, it's at least better than, say, an actual bow, because it fires unlimited arrows. The Staff of the Stars. Okay, look, having unlimited torches is cool, but it's still just torches, and there are better options. Staff of Nature. I feel like I'm doing this one backwards somehow. So it says it changes a vanilla sapling tree into another vanilla sapling tree. It's cool, I guess. Alright, the Staff of the Clearing. So, it can clear grass, and it's not that great. The Staff of Transformation. It technically does, in fact, have a use. The Staff of the Farmer. So it actually, okay, look. And I'm going to get to these growth blocks soon, alright? All these wood blocks I'm going to definitely talk about and place them somewhere. Okay? But when you are out and about and you can find one of these, yeah, you have to go looking for it and you have to be lucky to find them. But you still find them and then you just have them. You don't have to put any other resources into it to make it. And yeah, this is only a Gobber thing. Oh, you can right-click to harvest your crops. Yeah, well, your hoe can have Fortune 3, so. The Staff of Hostile Ensnarement. Alright, so hear me out. It's really good. In fact, I am going to say it's A tier good, but I'm going to go ahead and say, because the difference here is basically this one works on only passive animals and villagers, while this one works on passive and hostile mobs and villagers. So it's like, yeah, that's really powerful, really good. But this is really cheap. I'm talking like that cheap. Making one of these early game will make your villager trading setup much easier. I wish I had done that myself. Now we're getting into the medallions. So before I go any further, let's take a quick aside to the armor. The Gobber armor, the Nether Gobber armor, the End Gobber armor, and the Dragon Gobber armor. Each one has its basic little properties, such as Gobber armor will give you water breathing and healing and feeding. The Nether Gobber armor will also give you healing and feeding, but it doesn't give you water breathing, and it does give you fire protection. So here's my deal, and I can talk more about this later too, but I just made the Gobber armor, and then the End Gobber armor. I didn't even bother with the Nether. I might make it for decor, right? Something to throw up on an armor stand and just be like, oh yeah, look, it's so cool looking, ha ha ha. But I don't need it. It doesn't even it takes away a bonus, whereas the End just throws them all together. You get both fire protection and water breathing. It's fantastic. Plus, hey, no fall damage and gliding. So when we get over here to these sweet little medallions, then I hope you can understand that, well, at least for this one, I'm actually going to go ahead and do it in S tier. Oh yeah, look at that. The Villager Trading Medallion is easily one of the best medallions ever. It will get all of your trades going much faster, and you'll have much more profits in a very much shorter amount of time. But see, now we're getting into the ones that don't necessarily matter, because the Medallion of Water Breathing is essentially useless if you're willing to make at least the basic Gobber armor. So, I mean, is it good? Sure, it's got uses, but it's not really that great. The Medallion of the Sea provides fast swimming, better vision, and breathing. Okay, so this one adds breathing, and it doesn't, you can put Depth Strider on your boots, but the Medallion makes it to where you don't. Actually, you know what? I'm going to do a little bit better than what I did last time. I'm actually going to say it's somewhere around here. Somewhere between C and D, alright? You know what? That's not that bad. I still wouldn't make it, because I don't need it. Speaking of medallions that don't really matter, the lesser healing one, alright, not bad. The minor healing one, a little bit better. And then the fact that, of course, there's an End Gobber one would inherently put it above that one. And I'm pretty sure you need this one to craft that, but you could also just go back and craft a backup second one, right? And so then you could, and then another backup Gobber one, because you'd have to make a backup one to turn into that. So, you know, it's not that bad. If you had all three of them, you could just triple down into a nice healing on top of all the other overpowered healing you can get. The Medallion of Experience, I'm gonna have to go and say, this is pretty A tier. Okay, if it puts it in your offhand, it could be a little more overpowered. Okay, but you put it in your offhand and you use it with another enchantment we'll get to momentarily, and it just works out really great. I wouldn't know, I'm speculating. But the Medallion of Shielding will genuinely make arrows bounce off of you, and that's pretty okay. The Medallion of Suffering will injure things, but only if it's in your offhand, which I still feel like I could fit better things in my offhand, but that's still pretty dope. Actually, now that I think about it, what would I put in my offhand? I guess a Totem of Undying, really. And before I get into the enchantment, let's talk about tools. Because, like I said, I've only made the Gobber armor and the End armor, and I haven't bothered with the Nether. Now, tools are basically the same thing. You need a diamond pickaxe to be able to get Gobber. You also need Gobber to get Nether, and you need Nether to get End. But here's the thing. The Gobber pickaxe can get a Nether Gobber ore to drop, but so can a Gobber hammer. So, for a little bit extra ingots, you could just make a hammer and not a pickaxe, and then make only the Nether pickaxe that you can go on to make a ring. More on that later. And then only worry about the End tools, because they're unbreakable. There's almost no point to sit here and make a whole thing of our Gobber tools, much less an entire thing of Nether Gobber tools. Oh my god. You know, when you can just hold on to, like, whatever diamond or iron stuff you've been using until then, okay, and then worry about upgrading your tools. I mean, I don't know, maybe I made Gobber tools and I don't remember. Actually, I did make a Gobber tree axe now that I think about it, but I digress. Alright, look, you don't really need all these, okay? The most you need is maybe a sword so that it hits hard, and even then you really don't. Just keep using the weapon you're using now. Make at least a hammer. Make definitely the nether sword and the nether pickaxe, and then everything else is just pretty much all end equipment after that. First things first, you need the Gobber hammer. It's going to be the first thing you make that can do AoE attacks, and, well, it can do AoE breaking, but, I mean, you get so much more resources from the 3x3 area and strip mining than you would with a single pickaxe. Okay, no, they actually have the same durability. So even then, for the exact same durability, you can break 8 times more blocks. Then the next best thing to make is the nether Gobber pickaxe, so you can actually break the end Gobber ores. But really, this thing is only good for getting that ore, and that's it. Oh, and then you make something else out of it, and we'll get to that momentarily. This sword, however, this sword is absolutely S tier all the way. Just, oh my god. Every single time you take out a wither skeleton with that, you get a skull. It is unbeatable. And by that, I mean the value it offers you. There's definitely much stronger weapons that quote-unquote beat it. So all of these end tools here are in fact very good, and actually I like the hoe. I still use my hoe to this day. But the best one for me is probably the Impaxel. So good, in fact, that I'm going to have to call it an S-tier tool. I use it for everything. It's great. If I need area of effects, I have the hammer for solid blocks, and then I have the shovel for, like, dirt and sand. Both of these will break the blocks in a 3x3 or 5x5 area, and it's just kind of silly not to if you're trying to do a large area over time. And I'm just going to go ahead and do one above S. The sniper sword, that's right. It is hands down one of the best swords in the game, just for the fact that it combines the bow and the sword. Like, okay, yeah, that one's infinite, sure, and the end bow is great because it doesn't break. That's literally a sword that has all the powers of looting in it, but can also fire an arrow that basically one-shots everything. Oh, and this axe, if you hit a tree, one of its bottom logs, okay, the rest, all of above it, will attempt to break. Usually it does, in a very pleasing manner. I love it. Oh, and just because it's arguably technically better than the Paxel of Stars would arguably go above that one. Just saying, it has unlimited torches. You know, torches are great. I can't do that. It's not that great. I don't like it. Even if I make it, I'm literally going to have to take the torch off because I don't want to keep spamming torches on accident. Just sit right there. Alright, so we're going to get into some of this because check this out. These rings are mad overpowered. Okay, so Ring of the Farmer. Yeah, the staff exists and so does the ring. But also so does that block. So, you know what? We're just going to have to go ahead and right over here. Right here. The Ring of Sunshine. Move over, buddy. That didn't take long. The Ring of Ascent is easily one of the top tier rings in the entire game. Like, 9 times out of 10, if you're like brand new to the game and you have no armor, like basically, and if you're just running around like crazy and you're not being careful, fall damage can and will kill you. God forbid you try to do some like MLG water bucket jump and just fail. Ring of Swiftness. The Ring of the Miner. Absolute garbage. Now hear me out. Look, if we go over here, we look at the miner ring, it breaks most vanilla blocks around the player in a 10x4 area. Wow, that sounds really cool, but look how expensive it is. You have to make the ring and also go finding all of these, which would also in turn require Silk Touch. Quite literally, just make the hammer and do the extra 1 or 2 seconds to break the surrounding blocks, and you will save so much more time in the long run because the Ring of Above and Below. It sure is. The Ring of Return. Remember, this is like really polar opposites here, but the Ring of Return is easily S tier. Just for the fact that unless you're really crazy and put your bed over lava or something, your bed in this game should be the safest place you could possibly be. And when you're a literal second from dying, and this ring can port you straight to the safest place, way too OP. Oh, and the Ring of Attraction is just gonna have to go, somewhere between here, I guess. It's a really good ring, but it's not quite, necessary or game breaking. It's just really nice to be able to pull items towards you and not have to go hunt them down all the time. Oh, nether rings. Okay, now we're getting into some more powerful stuff. Ring of Strength. I mean, look, the strength boost is pretty good, but I don't know. I just don't think it's that great. Not like something like night vision. Okay, so here we go. So look, Packs of the Stars, unlimited torches. Oh, baby. How about, hear me out, if you didn't have to place any torches? Yeah, you could just see everything with a Ring of Night Vision. The next most overpowered thing was absolutely an S tier ring. And here's the thing. You're going to need the Nether Gobber pickaxe to craft the Ring of Haste, which gives you guessed it, haste. Yes, the beacon effect. Yes, at all times while the ring is in your inventory. Actually, it's haste 3. Then we have the Ring of Airwalking, another one for the bottom. Let's not... And mind you, I say this as someone who not only crafted, but found a Ring of Ascent. So, yeah, and this is another one. And the other one's just way better. It just is better. The Ring of Repair. Alright, so this one kind of has to go up here. It is... I mean, mending exists, and mending exists as a treasure enchantment that you can only get from trading with a villager. Like, it's crazy good, and that ring, it's only another Gobber ring, and it's so good. Like, go make a farm. You don't even need to make a farm. Just go sit at AFK somewhere overnight with all your stuff in your inventory, and it's all healed. And that's if you don't already have unbreakable and Gobber stuff. Like, oh god, it's great. Ring of Curing. Absolutely fantastic. Never have to worry about bringing milk around. But also, my dragon Gobber armor kind of nullifies it anyways. So we're going to say it's somewhere between good and okay. Because, it's pretty good. But, I mean, luck now. Hang on now. Alright, we got a... I really want to put it in S because luck is crazy. But also at the same time, I personally haven't realized, like, a huge increase of all the, loot I've been finding. It's not like, oh, I crafted that ring and now everything I'm finding is way crazier good. Like, no, it's already some pretty good loot. It's just, like, maybe slightly better? I don't know. Oh, yes, the ward blocks. Now, here's the thing. These are found all throughout the world, I believe mostly in treasure boxes. And it's like, you might find one of these buried underneath the sand. You might find one of these in a dungeon or a mine shaft. And you might find one of these in like an end city or something. Like, they're all over the place, and it varies on where you might find them. But they're still arguably free to be found. They can't be crafted. But they are absolutely way more powerful than any of these. And yeah, they're redstone components, but who cares? Like, oh, you have a ring and a staff to make the plants grow. Or alternatively, you can just place the growth ward block on a redstone block or source, power source, by your crops, and they will do the exact same thing. And I'd find that infinitely cheaper than having to make and carry around any of this. Also, probably the reason why you won't see me making the triple healing medallions and carrying them around when I can just carry this around in a redstone block. Honestly, if it wasn't for this healing block, I would probably actually be dead. So, thank you. The attack ward block. Yep, it exists and it's okay. Actually, I don't even know if I want to put it on the same tier as a... Nah, I can't do that. Oh, sorry, buddy. You're a D tier. You're okay. Same thing as you, let's be honest. These two are... they're okay. The best one probably is this one. That'll just auto-turn all your enemies into immediate XP. Or the one that I personally like a little bit better, which just turns them into treasure. But as I've shown earlier, you kind of have to be careful with it. Oh, I forgot about these rings. Dude, how could I forget about the Gobber rings? Whoa, hang on. The Ring of the Void. Okay, S tier. You will never have to go all the way toward the end portal again. You won't even have to throw an eye. You literally just craft the 8 and then throw them around an end ring. And boom, instant portal to the void. The Ring of Dismissal. It's okay. It basically allows you to equip it and then use it to throw, fling, yeet, whatever you want to call it. Just get monsters away from you. And, it's alright. The Ring of Blink. You ever want to be an Enderman and teleport? You can just look somewhere, click and blink. It's pretty great. The Ring of the Ender Chest means I never have to worry about having a pickaxe with Silk Touch ever again. I don't even have to worry about having the obsidian. I just have to make the ring the one time. And you know what? In retrospect, I absolutely will have to put the ring of teleport just a bit over the ring of return. Because even though the ring of return, well, this can be programmed, but it can also accidentally be reset. So actually, that's a huge jump now that I think about it, but that's going to have to be good enough because I don't like the idea that it can accidentally be reset. Oh, you know what? Let's get this out of my inventory right now. The hoe is S tier, baby. And last but not least, we have all of the new Gobber enchantments. So first of all, solid footing. Like right now, my dragon Gobber armor is allowing me to fly. And if I were to use like my pickaxe on a block over there in the background, it would be a little bit slower than if I were on the ground. Whereas solid footing lets the game treat me as if I'm still on the ground. So that's pretty cool. Quick use. Some of the items have a cooldown timer, specifically looking at the sniper sword here for how long it takes to reshoot another arrow. This book here, enchantment, you put it on that sword, it will never have a cooldown ever again, which is pretty overpowered. But you can also just remove the cooldowns in the config file, so quiet feet. Right now, the Warden isn't much of a problem, but the Wild mod does exist and you can add it into your repertoire of mods. You can also just wait patiently until 1.19 is inevitably released and then go try this out for yourself, where it will make the Warden not be able to hear you as you walk. He can still smell you though, so watch out. Rebuffing. I totally didn't have to just look this up on the Gobber mod page on the Curse of Forge website, but it does say that rebuffing will push attackers away when they hit the player and deals a small amount of damage. So essentially, it's like a lesser version of Thorns. It's better than Thorns. Smith Blade. It's like Sharpness, but instead of adding more damage to your base attack, it actually increases your base attack. I'm pretty sure that's the science behind this one. It's a good strength boost, why not? Blinders. You can look directly at an Enderman and never piss it off. Sure. Fluid Master. I'll be honest, it sounds good, but I could never make it work. Faster Obsidian. It's so important that I put it on all my tools, but I don't know if it's game-breaking important to put it any higher than a C. Untouchable is the better version of rebuffing and even better than Thorns. If you put Untouchable 3 on the 4 pieces of your armor and you go walking around, then the mobs will essentially delete themselves from reflect damage just by hitting you once. And by the way, Aaahhh is a magic defense buff. Magic's not that prevalent. And finally, that leaves all the curses. Did you know? Somewhere, such as the oldest anarchy server in Minecraft, 2b2d.org, some people actually do use the curses, specifically Curse of Vanishing. So that way, if you happen to get player killed, the very good items on you don't get lost. But all of these are new Gobber curses. Curse of Insomnia, I'll give you one guess what that does, and they're all curses, so they're all bad. So ignoring redundant things like the armor, because, never even made or wore the Nether Gobber armor. And ignoring these smaller details like saying, ooh, End Gobber Globbit is technically superior to Gobber Globbit. And that is how I would classify in tiers all of the Gobber items and equipment that the mod adds. And yes, there are technically other Gobber mods like the scythes or the shields, but between hose and the general armor protection that I have, especially the ward blocks, I haven't really found a reason to have shields, not even the vanilla one. Was I too harsh or too kind? Was my first recording better? That is of course a trick question, you'd have no way of knowing that. Thank you so very much for watching.